Hi there, it's me, Tori D, and it's time for the best time of the month, which is assigning one of my paychecks. So if you've been following for a while, you're going to see that this ready to assign number is actually a little bit higher than it was. So I think my previous paychecks were around $18.83 or so. I still have about another $50 or so per paycheck to play with, which is really exciting. So before we even start budgeting into the future, there's one thing, actually two things I have to adjust during the month of January. So for those who have been following along, I am currently buying my childhood home from my parents, and we had an inspector come out this week, and we're in an area where the basements get really wet. The house is almost 115 years old. It has a stone foundation, and the inspector came out after it had been raining for about 2 or 3 days, and so it was very damp down there. So we are currently working to figure out how to mitigate that water. So we still have not closed on the house and will not be closing on the house in the month of January, which is super frustrating because I just want to get it done. But it also means I will be able to zero out both the mortgage amount for the month of January as well as the utility amount for the month of January. So that just pretty much almost doubled the amount of money that is going to be able to be assigned with this paycheck. The other good news is I found out from my boss today kind of what our estimated bonus is going to be. So that's not on this paycheck, obviously, but that should be on one of the paychecks in February. So one of the things I want to do is go forward into March because that is kind of the next month that I have to do some funding. And so all of my categories that are low, that are underfunded, I'm just going to fund those up to the top. Just kind of double check that they're all in the right place. Looks like it. This is my last paycheck that I will get in the month of January, so I could really budget ahead into April. So I think what I'm going to do is get some of my categories, so my fun money, kind of my food and treats there, get my travel funded the whole way, get my crafts funded the whole way, and then probably my subscriptions. I know I probably don't need to go through and do all of my subscriptions one by one, but sometimes the math gets a little off, the underfunded versus the assigned last month, because I'm budgeting so far ahead. So for example, my Amazon Prime renews in February, which has not happened yet. So technically there's nothing underfunded because I haven't changed the goal yet, but just kind of playing around with that. So I usually just do the assigned last month just to make sure that I'm kind of capturing everything that I need to for those months. So really, that's going to mean I have kind of all my miscellaneous categories funded in the month of April, which is great news because that, if we look here at my immediate obligations, I'm only underfunded by $2,200, which I have basically the whole month of February to get those funded back up. I do want to contribute some money to my focus areas and kind of put some money back up right now. But I'm still going to put a little bit of money towards some things in the month of April right now, just because I have the flexibility to. And so now I'm going to go back to today. So I still have almost like a whole paycheck to budget, which is nuts. But you know, when you take out the $1,400 that you had set aside for the month for a house that you don't yet have, that will kind of do that. So there were a couple categories down here that I wanted to add money back into to either top them off or just get them a little bit higher. This one actually I can put 50 in for my giving to take me up to 200. Shoes. It's so funny saying shoes because, like, regular shoes, I don't buy regular shoes, but running shoes I will buy quite frequently. This one actually has a pretty low target to get that full. My sports stuff category is mostly like gel, salt tabs, that sort of thing. Everything I kind of need there. One other thing that I don't think I've talked about, and it's not in my focus areas right now, but I do just want to point it out and maybe put a little bit of money towards it. Actually, we'll come back to that one. So I am looking at getting myself an iPad and an Apple Pencil and a case with a keyboard built in. I don't want to get the Apple one because it's like $150 or something absurd for a case with a keyboard, but when you can get one on Amazon for like $45 with a rainbow keyboard. But basically I just want, particularly as I get towards writing my dissertation and doing kind of stuff on the road, I want to give myself the option to have something a little bit more portable. Also Kindle and moving to digital planning instead of paper planning, but that's kind of, you know, I'm just kind of playing around with it right now. So it's in the Wish Farm. It did move up from wish list to Wish Farm. For those who aren't familiar with the YNAB system, is kind of if you have something that you want but you don't necessarily want to buy it right now, you can kind of add a category to your wish list. Technically, if you are following it the way YNAB suggests, you should have a small, medium, and large goal in the Wish Farm at all times. Really for me, I just want to kind of have one thing in there since I am working on my focus areas right now. So I want to see, so we're at 2,400. So what would happen? So this is where I'm going to play around with it a little bit, just because I would kind of like to put this month at like a nice number. So having it stop at 3,500 I think would be nice. Also just to round some stuff up here. I can do math, I swear. Doing math in my head, just to kind of give that a nice round number, and to give, let's see, that would be 1092. Oh no, that was wrong. I wanted plus 1092. Oh geez, plus 1092. There we go. So that leaves me 131. Oh wow, wow, look at that. Even doing all those weird amounts made this flat. Oh, that's lovely. I feel like that's a sign that I should put all of it towards the iPad so I don't mess up all the fun numbers. Let's just look. Actually, I'm going to put $40 more here. Again, for those of you who've been kind of hanging out for a while, technically I would like to move through these in order. So my emergency fund is priority number 1. My cruise in September is priority number 2. And then my dissertation fund is priority number 3. But this was a refund or tuition reimbursement from my employer primarily. And then I like to see that number kind of go up since it's not currently the focus area. But that means I have $1,500 left to hit my 5,000 goal for my emergency fund, which based on what I am anticipating with the quarterly bonus, that should be able to be topped off when that bonus hits, which is pretty great. So then I can really focus in and dial in on the cruise. So since I've kind of made all of these numbers pretty, I am going to take just one other look here. I also think that I'm glad I budgeted $150 this month for transportation, so I didn't have to worry about it, but I think I'm probably only going to need 1 or 2 more fill-ups this month because I was anticipating going into the office this week or into the town where our office is for a party, but because I am currently doing my preliminary examinations, my comprehensive examinations for my degree, I'm a little bit stressed out about that, and the idea of spending an hour driving there, being at a party for 3 hours, and spending an hour driving home kind of on a crunch day for that examination kind of stresses me out. So I'm really only going to be driving into the office once next week, and then I'm going to be going to a quilt retreat, which is a little bit out of the way, but I think I should pretty much be fine there. My insurance also went down, and if we look ahead into February, it went down again. I'm really not sure what's going on there, but we're just gonna go with it. We'll see what happens. And again, groceries are down just because this is kind of a number I had done based on if I was going to be in the new house, which I am not. So my grocery spending has been down. So by the end of this month, I'll probably be able to pull from some of these categories to put back into my focus areas, which is great news for me. Again, because I'm doing my exams, I also kind of upped at least my dining out category because I have been #treating myself, which is fine. Like I definitely, it's definitely a point in the degree program and my progress there where I need to, and I wanted to, and I deserve to. So what I'm going to do, speaking of deserving things, I am going to put $41 into the Wish Farm for the iPad. So I've put about a savings target of $650 on that. For the iPad that I'm looking at, the Apple Pencil that goes with it, and like I said, a case with a rainbow keyboard, which would be pretty dope, because man, you can always get me when something lights up and it's rainbows. One of the other things that I want to kind of talk through right now as well is, so as I move through these focus areas, kind of the next thing on the list is going to be saving for my dad's New York trip, which has been kind of down here as the perpetually yellow thing down in the fun goals section. As we get closer to closing on the house and kind of pricing things out, I do think kind of once all my closing costs come out of here for my down payment category, then I will transfer anything that's left into the home and garden category. And I think from there, I may kind of break this into some different options. So really, because the house has several different kinds of repairs and adjustments and alterations and renovations that need done, for my sake in keeping track of everything and also budgeting for everything appropriately, I think honestly at this point in time, it's going to have to become a new kind of category of like home reno stuff, with subcategories of different projects and different estimations, just to kind of keep some sinking funds there and really just keeping track of what's going on. Like I said, I think that adjustment is going to happen after the closing, after I can kind of liquidate this and move that money around and redistribute it down here to then kind of give its own fund. I'm probably honestly going to wind up, once we do close, either doing a video of, here's what the house looks like before we do anything, or just kind of giving a tour or doing an overview of what the plans are and what the goals are. Again, with the issues we've been having with the basement, honestly, that kind of already changed some of the plans that I had, because we are going to be going so hard on waterproofing the basement. That's actually going to make the space much more habitable and give me about 500 extra square feet of living space, which, in a 1,800 square foot house is pretty great. So really kind of reconsidering what my options are, and being able to do that. So that will probably be coming in late February, early March, that adjustment to the categories and the way I have all of those things set up. The other thing that I have been considering, so I think I've talked through this before, is the combination of my mortgage and my escrow, so insurance, taxes, that sort of thing, is actually the mortgage amount is about $500 a month, and the escrow amount is about $250 a month anticipated right now. So right now, that would be sitting, if I'm doing $1,000, I'm contributing an extra $250 to my mortgage every month, which is great. But I have kind of played around with my spreadsheet because again, YNAB doesn't really give you the opportunity to forecast, which is what I need, but also having a spreadsheet and kind of seeing what my anticipated expenses are every month throughout the year, what my goals are. I realized I had a little bit more wiggle room in my monthly budget, so I may kind of bump my additional payment up another $100, so I'd be doing $1,100 instead of the required $750, because literally, again, the mortgage amount is $500, so I would be paying it more than, not quite more than double, but like basically I had run it through the calculators and it would take a 30-year mortgage down to like 10 or 11 years, which is absolutely absurd. But also if I have the flexibility to do it and can still meet all of my other goals and still can be contributing to retirement, like the idea that I could own my home outright before I turn 40 is really appealing. So just kind of thinking through what some options are there. So I have my focus areas up here. Again, emergency fund, my next, well, it's not even my next cruise, but kind of the next cruise I'm paying for, and then my dissertation out-of-pocket costs, and then my dad's New York trip. And then after that, it's really going to be focusing in on the mortgage and what's going to happen with the home and garden category to get all the renovations done to really make the house what I want it to be. Because it's just me. I'm the only person who's going to be living there, at least right away. So I can do whatever the heck I want, which is a little overwhelming. you don't know how many kinds of cabinets there are until they're all staring you in the face at Lowe's, and it's brutal. So I am looking forward to that, but also just really enjoying and looking forward to kind of the process of saving money, stocking it away, and again, kind of working towards my focus areas, my goals, but also making sure I'm kind of accounted for in everything else that's going on. So this was my second paycheck for January. I didn't anticipate really seeing any of my raise reflected in my paycheck just because it was less than a 3% raise. 1% of that I sent straight to retirement. So my filing location for work changed. I'm actually paying more in taxes, not much. So I really wasn't expecting getting any extra money because I thought it would all be eaten up by taxes. So the fact that it wasn't, and then I could move this mortgage and utilities stuff out, also really helped. So I feel like I was really long-winded today. I apologize. I hope you found it interesting, or hopefully you're not, bashing your head against the screen or the keyboard waiting to chew me out on something. But again, I just would love to hear what your goals are, what you're working towards. This is always a hoot. I always love talking shop about personal finance. So if you want to throw any of your goals or what your focus areas are right now, what you're working towards, into the comments below, that'd be great. But other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks for stopping by.